Everybody, Mega Roller 31 back here for FSI DFS. We've got two slates, really small one early, and then a 12-game large one late for Saturday today. It's a beautiful day across the nation, so we'll make a really quick video here so you can get your lines in and get out there and enjoy a day with your family and friends. So no other concerns in the first three games. They're all in domes, which is kind of ironic. The Braves and the Marlins is the first game of a doubleheader. It looks like Kyler Mueller and Jesse Lorenzo. Mueller's getting called back up from AAA. Lorenzo is coming back from the IL. He is stretched out. He has pitched plenty in AAA. You have McKenzie and White for Cleveland and Toronto, and you have DL Hall getting called up for Baltimore. His minor league numbers aren't bad, and Shane McClanahan for Tampa Bay. So obviously McClanahan's going to be the top choice here. I'm going to pair him with McKenzie in DK Cash, and I'm going to stack the Braves here, and I'm going to definitely fill in with some Cleveland pieces, and there's some cheap Tampa Bay pieces. There's a lot of 2K guys on this slate, so it's very easy to go. FanDuel, McClanahan, and then I'm going to go with Toronto as my primary stack here. And I'm going to mix in Tampa Bay. Again, there's a lot of cheap guys to fill in. You'll have to take a one-off if you're filling with Tampa Bay. I'm doing it at second base, and you'll figure out who's the best candidate there. For GPP, Lizardo, I'm taking, even though he might be on a pitch count and might not go super deep, he does have some K upside against the Braves. So, and then I'm taking the Blue Jays as my stack here, and then I'm filling in again with cheap pieces from Cleveland and Tampa Bay. Because that game's not offered on FanDuel, of course, I can't agree. They have the Chicago Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds game instead of the Braves and Marlins game. So I'm taking McKenzie as my pitcher in GPP. I'm taking a full Cleveland stack, and I'm filling in with Cubs and taking a one-off. And again, it's going to be at second base. Okay, let's go to the main slate here. 12 games coming up. Only a little bit of weather concern. Maybe Detroit, Chicago White Sox look like it's later in the game. They should be perfectly fine. So San Diego and Washington, same thing as yesterday. You've got a potent offense. I think they knew Tatis was going to be suspended. If you didn't hear that, Tatis in his recovery for ringworm or something took something that was a banned substance. So he's out for 80 games now or whatever the first tier ban is, so he won't be returning the season. But I believe they knew that. That's why they made all these moves before the trade deadline. But this team's solid. It's still a revenge game for Bell and Soto here. NFL Sanchez is not a great pitcher, actually a pretty bad pitcher. And he's over the hill now. So you Darvish, definitely like him too. I think he's my second favorite pitcher behind DeGrom here. I know a lot of people will go Burns, but I like the matchup for Darvish better. Nothing really won on the Washington side. San Diego is the top stack. Phillies and the Mets, you've got a great pitching duel here. You've got Nola versus Jake DeGrom. So I think Nola is a contrarian play up here. I think most people go DeGrom, Burns, and like I said, Darvish. But and the Mets are a hard matchup. But he's been pitching decent recently. So if you want to take a shot on him in GPP, no problem there. And both teams would obviously be the top leverage stacks, because if either one of the pitchers is off, they're going to have super low ownership. And if they do go off and light up one of these really good pitchers, then you're definitely going to have low ownership in a GPP on that. Detroit and Chicago White Sox, Manning, Giolito. Giolito's probably be the chalk SB2. He's very cheap recently. He's almost like Taco Bell. He's like, it's not great, but it's a cheap go-to thing when you need it. And that's what Giolito has really become here. Matt Manning, I think he's in play just because like Chicago's been so Jekyll and Hyde. Either they're really good or really bad, and it could be one of those days where they're off again, and Manning could have a solid start here at a low price for an SP2. So not saying he's priority in cash, but I'm saying in tournaments he definitely is in play. Bat wise, I think Chicago's gonna be the top GPP stack against Manning here, but I don't think, again, I really have a ton of confidence in them based on their current form and the weather. Oakland and Houston. Oakland for some reason seems to have Houston's number. I don't know why. Lance McCullers coming back from the IL. He'll probably go at least 5 innings. He has had a decent starts in AAA, so he should be fine. He is stretched out. There shouldn't be a pitch count there. He's up against the A's. Zach Logue definitely is going to be a fade here. Not interested. Houston's second favorite stack on the slate. And A's, I think if you want to play some of them, they have been good. And I'm going to actually go sprinkle them in with a Houston stack in GPP just to because they're so cheap and they have been getting hits recently against this Houston team that's just been very, very pesty, coming like kryptonite to them. Second half of the doubleheader, we have Atlanta and the Marlins. We have Ian Anderson. It looks like Nick Nieder, but I'm not sure who the Miami pitcher is going to be. I've also seen that Strider might be pitching for Atlanta. If that is true, then he definitely becomes in play. It'd probably be like if you can fit him in with one of the top pitchers, your SP2. But if it's Anderson, then he's just cheap option potentially. He's been better recently. Miami's a good matchup for him here, and Miami's a decent pitcher park, so I think he's in consideration, and I kind of think he's the second favorite behind Giolito and a good pivot off him. Dodgers Royals, Keenly, he's only gone like 4 innings his first like 4 starts after, so I don't think he's going to go that deep, and I don't want to pay 9.6 for him. Greg Hiller is definitely a no against the Dodgers. The Dodgers, thought they were on the board here. Okay, well, let's put them here next to Atlanta. For a decent stack there. And then Casey, not really interested in them at all because I completely missed that game. So I'll put Casey over here in the locker. Yankees and Red Sox, you have Montas and Crawford. Montas is a decent pitcher, but he struggled his first couple of starts and has recently. And there's usually runs put up in this game. It's a 9 total. Actually, it's almost a 10 total. It's just a shade below that. Or maybe it's exactly a 9 total. Never mind. I can't do math here. Crawford on the other side, not interested in. Even though the Yankees lineup's kind of like watered down, like still there's usually runs in this game. I know there was yesterday. I know it was a 12 inning, barn burner. It was like 3-1 or 3-2 or something like that. But I think there will be runs in this game. It's a little cooler in Fenway and the wind is blowing in, but I'm not playing Montas here. Definitely not playing Crawford, and I think the Yankees and Boston, I always stack the two of them when in a game stack when they're playing each other. Brewers and Cardinals, Corbin and Wainwright. Burns has been really good recently, but you have St. Louis is decent also, but he's good against right-handed pitching. There are some left-handed bats in the St. Louis lineup now. Nootbaar's been solid recently, Gorman. So I like Darvish a little bit more than him, but Burns I have no problem playing. And then Wainwright, he's struggled recently. So I think you could look at him against Milwaukee potentially in a GPP, but I think you'll be off him. And I think Milwaukee makes a decent stack in GPP. I just like the Boston, New York game, the White Sox potentially, and Colorado just being in Coors a little bit better. St. Louis is just a leverage play here against Burns. Seattle and Texas Rangers, I think this is a cross-off game. Either pitcher could do decent. Either offense could do decent against either pitcher. So I just have both of them listed in the cheap range, and I think, 150 max, you can play either. Now we come to Coors Field. We do have the Diamondbacks and the Rockies here. The wind is blowing in at like 8 miles per hour. It's going to be 92 degrees, so it should help the ball fly. Zach Allen's a decent pitcher, and he's been decent against righties, and that's where the Rockies are better against lefties. So I'm not going to put him as a fade. I think he's very risky, though. Urena is definitely 100% a fade here. Arizona Bats, I think they're the third best stack here against Urena. He's just really struggled this year. He's probably the worst Colorado pitcher in the worst hitting situation possible here. And then Colorado, I have him down in the GPP stack, even though it's Coors, because I think Gallen, I do have some respect for him, and they're really not great against right-handed pitching. Pittsburgh and San Francisco. 64 degrees, going to be kind of cool here tonight. Tyler Beatty, no thank you. Logan Webb struggled a little bit, but Pittsburgh's a great matchup to get right here, and he's only 9.1, so it's a fair price. So if you want to pay down and do like a balance build to get some bats in, stack like 2 bigger teams and have somebody that's in a good matchup that can get some Ks in the win, especially on FanDuel to get the quality start. I think he's in line for that here. Pittsburgh, not really interested in, and San Francisco is always one of my favorite cheap fill-in stacks. And then Minnesota and the Angels, again, I think Reed Detmers, I really like him. He's been solid recently. I know Minnesota's decent offense, but they've been super hot and cold, even more than the White Sox. So I think Detmer is going to be my favorite SP2 and GPPs, not cash. I'm going Giolito and cash. And then Minnesota, just in LA, they both fall into the whole, it's the same category as Seattle and Texas. Both pitch, well, I know Detmer should do good here, but either offense could potentially do decent anyway. So they're all like, if you're playing like multi-entry games. So let's just look at the lineups quick and get you out of here. So like I said, I'm taking Giolito and DeGrom here. I'm stacking San Diego again, and I'm going to fill in with San Francisco players. And you can do that. So you just pick if you want to take another outfielder or catcher or sinker base to make the 5 for San Diego, or if you want to go a little more balanced and go 4 San Francisco guys, I'm fine with that. For GPPs, I'm taking Burns and Detmer, and I'm stacking Houston. I have the full Houston stack here. Again, I'm filling with, if Mancini's not in a great hitting position, then I might fade off him and just maybe fit another stack in there that fits a little bit better, maybe take some Arizona pieces. But if you fill in, this doesn't leave you much money, so you like punt catcher, but there's Oakland guys that are really, really cheap, a shortstop or outfield that you can plug right in there, or other guys just to make the stack. But Houston, it has a great matchup, and I love this pitching combination, the GPP. So that's where I'm going with that. FanDuel, I'm taking DeGrom, obviously the top choice. If you want to pivot off and go Burns or Darvish, I'm fine with that too. A little bit money there. And San Francisco stack works really well with a 4-man San Diego stack, taking Bell, Machado, Soto, and Profar. And then finally, GPP, Giolito, I'm taking for there. It gives me a lot of salary. So Brown or Mancini, again, I'm stacking the A's and the Astros here, taking Altuve, Alvarez, Tucker, Mancini. If not Mancini, I'll probably take Bregman at third base there, and then filling it in with A's again, or whatever cheap players fill in to fit. So that's what we got for Saturday. And again, 2 slates. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. Hit me up at Twitter at MegaRuler31. And if you want more information on FSI DFS, as always, check the details there, get into our Discord, and get all the information on everything we're covering. Soccer season starting out here, EPL week 2. We got a lot of that going on. Great coverage there by Gator Guy and Turtle the Storm. And we got NFL coverage coming up. We're doing preseason right now. MLB continues. NASCAR, TK and I will have that coverage this weekend. PGA, like so many things starting up as we get closer and closer to the fall. So appreciate you watching. Give the video a like, subscribe to our channel so you know when our videos are coming out, and see all the other great videos we have out there. And please share with your friends. If we're helping you out, we want to help them too. So thanks again for watching. I'm MegaRuler31. Good luck in your contest today. We'll see you next time.